So wouldn't it be rational for the American government to say, we're going to prioritize younger generation Americans that are American passport holders and citizens before those in another nation?
I don't want to say anything that offends people. But
go
I've
ahead.
already said it, right? I've already said it. Whatever. I think that the way we're going about it is wrong. And that if we don't have a clear path to citizenship, we won't open up those opportunities for people to come and seek a good life. But I also think that, we are required to have those rights ourselves.
Seeking a
as
good
American
life
citizens.
is fine. It's a nice added benefit. Our government does not exist to improve the life of foreign citizens.
But we should be open to the idea of accepting that.
Of course we are, if we have our own house in order. We are in chaos right now. We have the most depressed, suicidal, anxious generation in history. Our birth rate is collapsing. Kids can't afford homes.
Yeah.
What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today, guys, we're back here into a new video. Today, we're going to check out Kirk shuts down pro-open borders on illegal immigration. This is going to be amazing. I would love to check this video out with you guys. And okay, let's check it out. Charlie kick because you love kicking us. Let's get right into today's video, guys.
Hey, my name's Nicholas. I was just wondering, like, what exactly you think about undocumented immigrants? So what would you say about, like, the dairy industry and things like that, which, like, you know, their backs are built off of undocumented immigrants?
Hire American.
Hire American? Yeah, but then we'd have to, like, pay them more because
exactly.
Right now...
We would have to pay them more, and we would see higher wages, and the middle class in America would boom.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people like fight against higher wages. Why is that exactly?
Well, I'm sure corporations fight against higher wages. That's why they want a bunch of foreigners to take American jobs and keep wages low. Because they don't want to pay their workers because it might decrease their profitability.
So you are pro higher wages?
Of course.
100%.
That's why I want people that work in the dairy industry or at Tyson Foods or that work with their hands to be able to flourish and buy a home and have an American way of life that is largely forgotten now for many of them.
So what do you exactly classify as an American? Like, what if it's someone who did come, like, legally?
U.S. passport holder.
Okay, but even if they, like, came here legally?
Well, I said illegally.
Legally.
Well, if they came here legally, if they go through a process, they can get a U.S. passport, yeah.
Okay.
Until then, they're a visitor applying to be a member of our very large country.
Okay, so pro higher wages for Americans?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's obviously a lot of bad people coming in illegally through the border, but there's also a lot of good people that want to work hard that can't come legally due to the rampant corruption on the border. In some cases, it can cost up to 200,000 pesos to come in legally, and that's more than a Mexican citizen can make in their entire lifetime. So how can we, like, sell them the American dream, but not let them in legally, the people that want to do good, not let them in legally to pursue that dream?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they want to do good. Just
Thank you.
Send them back to their country. I mean, there's a lot of Vietnamese that want to do good and come here, but they don't live close, so they don't border jump.
So, okay.
This is not their home. Go back to your home and go make Mexico great again.
But they can't necessarily do that while the cartels are running the government. They have no upward mobility, and we sell them the American dream.
Then go fix your country.
Because that's
not my problem.
Isn't that the point of America, to sell the American dream?
What is the point of America? Is the point to bring in a bunch of foreigners, or is the point to protect our own citizens?
Well,
is it we, the foreigners of the United States?
The foreigners are the ones that became the citizens.
Well, is it? Well, that's the question. Were we founded by immigrants or founded by settlers?
They're the same thing.
No, they're not. Settlers come to something not built. Immigrants come to something already built.
But all the immigrants that came to something already built that are now citizens.
Fair enough. Yeah, they're here.
But now we're still selling that dream, but not allowing them in the proper way.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by selling the dream?
Of the American dream, that's still a huge talking point, and that's still a big claim to fame that we have.
You know, the American dream I want sold is for all American-born kids to be able to own a home and have a family and have kids. I'm sorry if the concern of, like, a third worlder in Honduras is not my primary concern. Like, a whole idea of a government is you put your people first. You don't put the, like, compassionate narratives of someone in the third world first.
Well,
our country's falling apart. Most of you guys will not be able to own a home. You're going to be swimming in debt, medical debt, student loan debt, credit card debt. We're sending hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine. So yeah, we should secure the border and put young people first and fulfill the social contract. Then we can worry about the third world.
Wouldn't letting the individuals that want to come here and work hard and contribute to the country make it better for all American citizens?
Has it?
In the past, yes.
Has it the last 5 years? Have the amount of illegals in this country made the country better for all people?
Well, most of those individuals aren't the good people.
So then if they want to be here so bad, we do have a legal process. So then let's go through the legal process.
But the legal process is almost impossible for most people.
Well, it's impossible for Mongolians too.
Okay.
So either we have an immigration system or we don't, and we're deciding we just let anyone in our country no matter what just because they're poor.
My focus was more on the corruption, on the
corruption is fine. We can
system.
fix it. That's fine. But my concern is why do we not put, especially American 18 to 20-year-olds first? You guys get the last of everything. Instead, the abstractions of the regime seem to take priority. So,
Gotcha.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Kirk. I have a disagreement with your take on the border policy.
Okay.
To my understanding, you said we should reduce the immigrant on the border to 0, correct? Well, a little bit about myself. My name is June. I just got out of the Marine Corps. My whole career is about war on terror.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Well, at least that's what they told me when they threw me in Bahrain and told me on standby. I'm all about keeping the terrorists out of the country, but I disagree with you because historically speaking, more than 12,000 Chinese laborers built the railroads for America in the 1800s. Not all of them are documented and legal. Thousands of Irish immigrants built the skyscrapers in New York. Not all of them are documented.
No, they
legal.
did come in legally. That is true. The Irish did, yeah.
But also, back in the 1920s, all the way up to 60s, the government took the legislative act of Barcelo Act that imports millions of Mexican workers for the labor work in this country. And why all of a sudden you want to close it down? And there's almost 0 exposure on the northern border.
Well, there are people crossing on the northern border too, but why do I want to shut it down? They're breaking the law. Should we not have the law that says you can't walk into the country without proper approval?
Well, for the longest time, they can just...
Well, no, hold on. The Irish came
Really?
via Ellis Island.
Okay.
The Czechoslovakians came legally. The Polish came legally. So I don't know what group you're... I mean, the Chinese, I'll take your word for it. I would imagine they came through a port of entry, and we knew who they were. But we have no idea who these people are on the southern border. We don't know their background. We don't know why they're here. It's 15,000 people a day that are illegally crossing into the country, breaking our laws.
Okay, so for the past 50 years, there hasn't really been a fence or any sort of process to deport them or catch them when they cross the border.
No, that's not true. We've had deportations for the last 30 years. In fact, we did mass deportations in the early 2000s. Even Obama deported about a couple 100,000 people a year.
Why all of a sudden now everything, you want to tighten up everything?
You know why? Because the border crisis has never been so bad. It used to be a couple hundred a day. Now it's 15,000 a day.
Okay, so it's about the severity, not really about...
It's both. I've always been a hawk on the border, but now it's reaching such a point where illegals are taking over schools in Chicago and New York, disenfranchising native-born American social services. And not to mention, the law is very clear. We have a process to come into this country, and they're deciding to break that law, which is a crime.
Okay, is there a better approach to this besides just shutting up the border?
Yeah, also have Mexico do it, which Trump did. Mexico could secure the border as well, and they're choosing not to. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thanks.
How you doing, sir?
I might have to go visit all those lunatics in a
I do
second.
apologize if I stutter. Not the best at public speaking.
That's okay. Thank you for coming up.
Of course. I was just going to ask, how do we morally deal with, because don't get me wrong, I am conservative. I do believe that illegal immigrants shouldn't come to the country and take up social welfare systems and all that. How do we deal with cases where they came here illegally, they had a child? Should we allow those parents to stay or allow that child to just have no,
It's
like,
a good
send the parents
question.
away?
Yeah, just deport the whole family back.
Even though the child has no connections, like to their family's home country.
Oh, so they were smuggled into the country?
No, born here. Like if the
well,
parents
if they're
came
born here, they
right.
stay because they're a U.S. citizen.
So I was
I think we
asking-
should get rid of birthright citizenship, but I don't get what I want. So let's talk about the border. We have brought in 5% of the population of Haiti.
I don't see the issue with that though. Like as
You don't see the issue with
allowing immigrants into our country. I mean, is that not the foundation of America?
These are illegal immigrants that
people
cut in
seeking
line.
refuge for the best country in the world. Isn't that the whole point of your like organization?
Well,
the U.S. is the best country in the world. Shouldn't we be obligated to like help people that are suffering?
Yes, America is the best country. Therefore, its citizens should come first, not foreigners. So we have an obligation to our own people.
So the pathway to citizenship should become easier. Then.
No, we should deport them all back to their homeland.
We should deport them all back to their
all back to their homeland.
All the immigrants. Okay.
Well,
we shouldn't
all
make
the
it easier
illegal
for
foreigners. Yes.
Okay.
In Springfield, Ohio, in one town, English as a second language speakers in one high school went from 250 to 1,500 kids in 2 years. These communities are being overrun. Go down to Aurora, Colorado, right down the street here. Entire apartment complexes are now being run by Venezuelan gangs. Not to mention every day an American citizen is being killed. From Laken Riley to Rachel Morin to 11-year-olds that are being killed in DUI accidents. We have a belief that our founding fathers had, which is if your government does not fulfill its obligation to its own people first, its government is not legitimate. And that's what's happening right now. Sure. Our government is now providing taxpayer-funded cell phones, hotel rooms, benefits, airplane rides, cash for foreigners, but not for Americans. If you guys as an American citizen want a free cell phone, they'll laugh at you. As a foreigner from Venezuelan, you get one on the southern border. You get a flight to any city that you want. You get a luxury hotel in New York City. You get taxpayer-funded health care. That is the inversion. That is elevating somebody from a distant land over our own people. When our own kids can't afford homes, when our own people are seeing an increase in crime, homelessness, and we have over 50,000 homeless vets in this country. It's a breakdown of the social contract.
Wait, so the government should support veterans, support
Yes.
citizens more. We should do, so we should spend more on our people with better health care, better social programs. That's literally what you just said.
We should spend it on veterans and not on foreigners.
Sure, and American citizens with like cheaper health care. That's what you just said.
Well, hold on. You're
free
trying to,
phones, airplane rides, public transit.
I
That
don't
sounds
support,
great for Americans.
No, it sounds terrible, actually.
For Americans?
Yes, government should not be giving free phones to anybody, okay?
You said that the citizens should come first in those programs.
Yes, you know how they should come first? By not having to compete against a foreigner for your job.
But I don't think that's the case, though, when most, like...
How about this? If your own perspective was correct, would you feel comfortable going in Uber right now to Aurora, Colorado, and going to those 3 apartment complexes?
I mean, according to the Aurora police, I probably would. They say the apartments complexes are not overrun.
You should get in the car and go, go talk to anybody here and go knock on the door, and they'll extort you for cash because we're a country that is open for looting right now. For the entire world, over 118 countries have entered the southern border. That we know of, at least 99 people on the terrorist watch list have come across the southern border. We're talking about people from Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, from Iran, people from Pakistan that are coming here and mean harm to the interior of the United States. Not to mention, we're breaking down what it means to be a citizen. A citizen should be put first above anybody else. If a government does not do that, then the government is not fulfilling its basic obligation. And the number one obligation is to make sure that its people can have a pathway to a better life and a good life. Not a variety of free stuff, but not have to compete with somebody from Brazil for a home. Not have to, but not sure. The way that we're not doing that is that we're importing the third world and we're quickly becoming the third world.
So why don't we use our resources to improve the third world so they're not coming here rather than
because
just spending
that's
the
not
same
the
amount
role
of
of the American government. You think we should be concerned about Central American politics? I don't care. I care about our own people.
So then you don't care about those people that are sex trafficking
you know
children.
Why? Hold on. Of course I care about it.
You say you don't want to spend the money to make that change happen.
Number one, we've spent hundreds of billions of dollars. It doesn't do any good.
That's not true.
Number two, it is not the role of the American government to solve the problems of Panama, El Salvador, and Honduras when our own citizens are suffering and are crying out for help.
So why has the billions of dollars spent on Central American aid over the last 4 years
we shouldn't
been effective at slowing the rates of sex trafficking in Central America?
It hasn't slowed anything.
No, it's been effective.
It hasn't affected anything. What you're talking about is bribing these governments where they then go give it to cartel leaders and say, hey, this month send 20,000 people instead of 40,000
That's
people.
not what that money's going towards. It's going towards NGOs and bottom-up stabilization.
You think NGOs spend the money correctly?
Okay, not
Man,
all
you are
NGOs,
so
obviously,
naive.
sure.
By the way, more people are crossing the Darien Gap than ever before. Not to mention, they're coming across on the CBP One app across the border into the interior of the United States in every single state. You cannot continue to have a country if you import an unfamiliar third world this quickly into America.
So there should be a path to immigration.
No, we should have no immigrants in this country right now.
No immigrants
None.
in the country.
We need a total, complete shutdown of immigration in this country until every single Gen Z person can afford a home and can get their act together and be able to afford the American dream.
So what's your path to Gen Z getting homes? Is it just kicking all brown people out?
Not brown people. I think we should.
Immigrants, yeah.
We should. Anyone that's here illegally should be deported back to their country of homeland. By the way, it's a moral position.
So H-1B visas that like generate and stimulate the economy, kick those out.
Well, that's interesting. H-1B. Who here studying computer? Anything? Anybody? Computer engineering? You guys have to compete against a foreigner for a job. That's wrong. American. Well, I actually care about the country more than the free market.
So colleges should better prepare students and better utilize government resources.
Well, college is a scam, but yes, we did that earlier.
For computer science, they shouldn't go to college.
Well, actually, you don't need to go to college for computer science.
You don't need to go to college for computer science?
You could do a coding class in a couple months.
You could do a coding class?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alphabet is hiring right now.
You could get a job at Alphabet, Google, for taking a C++ class?
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
They're hiring coders after a 60-day coding class. To answer your question, a country that ceases to secure its own sovereignty and does not think I care more about my own people than the foreigners ceases to be a country. You're a colony and you're something else. And we are seeing our generosity be taken advantage of. I am all for American charities going down to Panama and helping out. I'm all for people giving to charity.
So we should reallocate U.S. spending towards things that are actually effective for people in and outside of our borders.
Well,
so then we don't have people coming into our borders and then we can help our people.
Well, no, again, if they come to the border and the border is closed and you say, hasta la vista, go back to Nicaragua.
Or we spend in Central America, they don't have to come to the U.S., and then we have a better U.S. It's the same amount of spending.
No, first of all, to solve the problems of the third world would cost trillions of dollars, and that would all be laundered and not even work. And again, it's not the position of the American government to go throw money around in the Southern Triangle. Instead, it's our country's closed. We're not open for looting anymore. Go make Nicaragua great again, or go do what El Salvador has done. El Salvador is now a safe and stable country, and they're seeing their GDP go up, and it's not because of us.
Yeah, it is. We put $4 billion into South Central America.
Hold on, and Bukele barely took the money. You know why it's safe? Bukele has turned El Salvador safe because he locked up all the criminals. He locked up 40,000 criminals and put them in prisons, and El Salvador is now safer than America. El Salvador was the murder capital of the world, and now El Salvador is much safer than America. I think it's wrong if you guys are afraid to walk the streets of Denver at night. I wouldn't walk the streets of Denver at night. Would you guys? No! That's a breakdown of the fundamental role of government. Would you guys walk the streets of LA at night? No. The streets of San Francisco? No. We can't walk our own greatest cities at night, and we want to bring in more people from the third world? Hell no.
There's a reason that a lot of the black community doesn't have a father, and it's because of systemic racism. It's because black men are more likely to be in prison.
Oh yeah, so why do people go to prison?
For a lot of the time it's because they're in poverty and they have no other way.
In poverty we should give excuses for committing crime?
Yes, if someone is stealing something because they have no money and there's no jobs.
That's so interesting. So you think most crimes are crimes of necessity in the black community?
I'm not saying most.
Something happened to black America since 1965.
You mean the war on drugs?
If that's your contention, that's fine. So in order to go to jail for the war on drugs, you have to be dealing drugs, right? Or you have to be caught with drugs. So if you don't
which is one of the main jobs that you can have in a poverty-stricken. If there's no jobs, you're going to do drugs. I mean, you're going to trade drugs because that's the only option you have.
It's such a difference in worldview. I don't like making excuses for people that do things that are obviously destructive. Secondly, we have a problem in black America. The biggest problem is not racism. It's the lack of dads. If dads are around, kids flourish.
Systemic racism creates family problems. If you take away black people from their families, then they're going to have broken families.
Okay, but that's interesting. How are you taking them away? Aren't they leaving? If you stay single as a single mother, you get money from the federal government, and it's basically subsidized, if you will.
Sure.
Can we at least agree that if the nuclear family in black America was stronger and tighter knit, that would be a good thing?
In a lot of cases, yeah.
There is obviously a huge issue in the country with healthcare prices.
Yeah.
What do you think is the best way to lower costs for families?
The hospitals are gouging prices significantly. We have to try to get at the root cause, which is the food that we are feeding ourselves and our kids. We have to get to the fact that we are an increasingly sedentary country. We aren't walking enough. We're not exercising enough. And healthcare costs are exploding because we don't actually address the root cause 20 or 30 years prior.
How do we take on those huge food companies?
Well, the first thing is we should have a real conversation about banning pesticides in when we're making our food. Ultra processed food. Ultra processed food should not be on the FDA recommended food pyramid. We have a chronic disease epidemic. It's not because our kids are lazier. It's because we are actively poisoning our kids with food from big ag that we're spraying with all these pesticides, these chemicals. And if you look at the ingredient list of just a Lunchables box, we are basically giving kids the worst thing possible for their metabolism, for their endocrinology. So that I'm more interested in the healthcare conversation that tries to make sure that a 12-year-old doesn't have to get on Ozempic by the time they're 18 years old. And just so you know, they're giving pediatric Ozempic now for 12 and 13-year-olds. They are now treating obesity as a genetic disorder that you cannot do anything about, and they just want a 12-year-old to now have to take a shot every week to try to curb their obesity, which has all other sorts of very, very negative health implications. Every day, potentially, right? And so how do we solve that? Well, my personal crusade, we have to blow up the food pyramid, that we have way too many carbohydrates in our diet, not enough healthy fats, and not enough protein. Whoever made that was obviously bought by the big ag companies. And you should just say, I'm not going to have any more high fructose corn syrup. I'm not going to have any more processed sugars. And if there are ingredients I can't pronounce, I should resist it. And you'll be a lot healthier because of it. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So I just had a question, because you talk a lot about like protecting and securing our southern borders. But as the granddaughter of immigrants, I think that we get into a lot of complicated disputes with the idea that immigrants are criminals, are drug dealers, and things like that. So I just want to hear what your opinion is on those expectations, or those, those stereotypes that are put on Hispanic communities, Latino communities, and how they change the way people perceive immigration.
Sure. So thank you for the question. So you said you're the first generation student or first generation American?
I'm a first generation student.
Cool, great. Second generation American? Did I hear that right?
Third generation American on my mom's side.
Great.
Second on my dad's.
When your grandparents then, is that right, came
Yes.
to this country, did they do so through the legal process that was in front of them?
So my father got married to my mother. So he's a legal resident of the United States. She's been here her entire life.
But did she enter legally?
She did. She's born here. Yeah.
Got it.
My grandpa on my dad's side entered in illegally.
Okay. So I'm not here to like insult your grandpa, right? But we must be very clear that the type of immigration that we support is when you follow our rules and you come on our terms, and that you do not break into a country uninvited and you try to cut.
Can I add something to that? The reason why he left, and a lot of people in Mexico do, is because of the political state, especially in the 70s and 80s, when they decided to move. They have a government that isn't supportive of their constituents, and because of drug problems, their only choice was to move.
Yeah, I totally sympathize. That's not true. It's never the only choice to commit a crime, and we should not put up with it. And so it is an insult to other immigrants from Vietnam and Laos and Pakistan that have to wait decades in line to morally equivalate people that come in and just break in. Oh, I have an unstable country. Like half of the world's countries are unstable. So look, we just have to be very clear with this, is that if you come into the country uninvited, you have committed a crime and you are a criminal. And we could decide that we're not going to enforce our laws, or we can say that when you are a criminal, you should then be punished for that crime, aka sent back to your country of origin, because you were not invited. And it is an insult, again, to the Poles and to the Czechoslovakians and from the Senegalese and people all across the world that don't have the proximity or the luxury just to waltz into America.
You call it a luxury to leave a country that has political tyranny and come into a country with opportunity?
Yes, to live in Mexico, to be able to go 100 miles north and break into America. Do you know how many people in Pakistan would kill to be on that border?
That's why we bring them in.
Well, we shouldn't, right? That's the point. And secondly, do you think that you have a right to immigrate to America?
I think that I didn't have a choice. My grandparents made that decision
Okay,
for me.
and I'm not trying to attack your grandparents, but no one has a right to go to anybody else's country. You are invited. It is a privilege, not a right, to come into America.
So it's a privilege to live a life that requires you to have clean water, clean food, clean
Yes,
air.
of course it is.
And you have to fight for that?
Yes, it is not.
But we didn't?
Hold on a sec. Well,
Born here,
hold
we
on a
didn't
second.
fight for that?
Well, my ancestors did fight for that, actually, and I'm a very thankful recipient of many generations of Americans that fought for the greatest nation ever
By
to
doing
exist.
what?
in the-
Coming here?
Well,
Illegally?
wait, what did my ancestors do?
Came here
They
illegally.
came over here in 1620, fought in the Revolutionary War, fought in the Civil War, fought in World
So
War I.
because my grandpa
fought in World
didn't
War
come here in
II.
1620, it gives him no right to have a good
no,
life?
he can fill out paperwork and wait in line like the
Okay.
rest of the world, and then we can see whether or not it's in our best interest to allow him to come in. And so we have to weigh costs and benefits. Do you think that the American government should first have a obligation to citizens before foreigners?
Okay, I think we have an
answer the
obligation.
question. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Yeah, we're obligated because we're citizens to have the rights that we have, but that doesn't mean we can't open up our borders
that's not
when
the
we
question.
have the process
Hold on a second.
to do so.
You, being a younger American, and everyone in the audience, is the first generation in American history to have it be worse off than your parents. So the social, and you agree with that, social contract, poorer, more expensive. So wouldn't it be rational for the American government to say, we're going to prioritize younger generation Americans that are American passport holders and citizens before those in another nation?
I don't want to say anything that offends people. But I've
go
already
ahead.
said it,
Say the
right?
truth.
I've already said it. Whatever. I think that the way we're going about it is wrong. And that if we don't have a clear path to citizenship, we won't open up those opportunities for people to come and seek a good life. But I also think
But
that,
it's
yeah,
not-
we
it's-
are
it's
required
not-
to have those rights ourselves
Seeking a
as
good
American
life
citizens.
is fine. It's a nice added benefit. Our government does not exist to improve the life of foreign citizens.
yeah.
But we should be open to the idea of accepting
Of
that.
course we are, if we have our own house in order. We are in chaos right now. We have the most depressed, suicidal, anxious generation in history. Our birth rate is collapsing. Kids can't afford homes.
Yeah.
You guys are drowning in debt. You have to compete you have to compete for jobs against foreigners. Our country is a mess right now. And so when your country's a mess and your home is in disarray and bedlam, your own government should say, time out. I have a heart for the people of Haiti. I have a heart for the people of every country. But you're not coming here until this generation at least has it as good as their parents. And that is a very simple moral statement. If when you bring people in, they make the life worse for the people that were already here, should we stop letting those people in?
Do they, though?
Yes, they do. Illegals every day are doing DUIs and kids are dying across the country.
But if Americans are
Thousands-
doing this, it's fine?
Well, it's not fine. They should go to jail. But this
Okay.
is the red herring, is that Americans are invited guests. Foreigners are people that broke into the country that shouldn't be here, and none of those crimes should be happening at all. One of them is a crime of choice. The other is just a crime because that's part of what happens when you have a society. So when you have Americans that are murdered by illegals, that is because we have decided and chosen we're okay with them being here, and if they kill our people, no big deal.
I'm just trying to. I know we're not going to agree on
No,
this.
it's
That's
fine.
why I
So,
came up here in the
that's
first
fine.
place. I knew
Are
you
you
were.
okay with deporting every illegal person that's here?
No.
Why?
Because there's some people here that are not represented well by the media. There's a lot of illegal immigrants here that are working their butts off for the life that
No,
they
no,
want.
I don't care if they're working hard. But
Thank you.
the point is, what should the punishment be for breaking into a country?
Depends on the crime you commit after
No, no.
you break into it.
Okay, that's it. I'm talking about just the crime is breaking in. What should the punishment be? I break into somebody's home. What should their punishment be?
Can you repeat that?
Oh, so if you behave after you get here, that's fine. So to play that out, if someone comes into your dorm room uninvited and they do the dishes and laundry, they can stay?
If I'm not going to do my own dishes, heck yeah. They're doing my dishes for me? Cool. If they don't kill me, I'm not dead. It is what it is, man.
Well, they are killing a lot of Americans, but
You say they. Like they are?
Yes,
like
they.
All illegal immigrants kill people? That's crazy.
Many illegals do, actually. No, but it's just interesting. The punishment for the crime of breaking into a nation should be what it is in Switzerland and Israel and Hungary. Every person who breaks into a nation uninvited goes back to their country of origin. Period.
So why
End
is
of
there an
story.
emphasis on the southern border?
because most people come illegally through the southern border?
The point I'm trying to make is that we categorize all illegal immigrants under the same thing: sex traffickers, drug dealers.
Am I
and
doing
by
that?
you saying all illegal immigrants
No,
have
no.
to be deported,
Yes.
you're implying that all of
I'm not
them
implying
are
anything.
doing these
I'm being
terrible things,
super
and not a
clear.
small percentage of them.
If you come into a country uninvited, definitionally you are a criminal.
We're just not going to agree.
It's fine. Then
That's
final
okay.
question. What is a criminal?
What is a criminal?
Don't break the rules. That's simple as that.
No, what is it? Would you agree with the definition that a criminal is someone who breaks the law?
Yeah.
Here's where I'm thinking. Here's the thing. I know how he's going to turn it, and I don't fully agree.
It's not a matter of turning it. It's a very ABC sequence. If they're not criminals, then tell me what a criminal is. And a criminal is obviously someone who breaks the law. Someone who comes across the southern border broke federal law, therefore they are a criminal.
Okay, then we can just disagree.
This entire video is actually beautiful to watch. I don't know why people don't want to accept the truth is that whenever you come to someone else's country illegally, you've broken the rule, you've broken the law, you've committed a crime. You have to go back to your country. It's like as if they tell you that if you enter into someone's country illegally, you should be arrested, detained for life. No one will want to break in. Because they're sending you back, you're taking the risk. What is the worst that can happen? They'll send you back to your country. That's why some people are taking the risk. Because you entering into someone's country illegally, you've committed a massive crime, a big crime. The country don't have documentation of you or where you are from or who you are. It's bad. I don't know why people are supporting this narrative of let them in, let them in, let them in. Do you know how many millions of people that want to come to America? Like, let's be frank. Do you know how many millions that want to come to America from different countries? If you are allowing everybody in, the country you are staying in will be uncomfortable for you to live in. That is it. That is what we are talking about. We have to make sure our country is clean and peaceful, and our citizens have a better life before accepting other foreigners. It's normal sense, it's common sense, it's normal logic. You don't accept more foreigners into your countries, even if they're migrants, even if they're immigrants. It's good to accept, but at the same time, you have to make sure your home is clean. If your home is terrible, no one will want to come to your home. Like, let's say, give Ukraine, for instance, what is happening in Ukraine now? Give Palestine, what's happening in Gaza now? No one wants to go to Gaza. Why? Because the place is a mess. If your country is a mess, no one will want to come in. You get me? So illegal immigrants coming to your country is terrible. Because they're sharing border with you does not give them the right to enter into your country illegally. Even the process of entering into your country illegally, they used to smuggle them. And some people die in the process, which is terrible. So what matters is not about them being a good people or able to clean or able to take care of. They have good heart, they're saints, that they are not causing any trouble. The issue we are having is that they come into the country illegally. They have to follow due process. Do you understand? That is what matters. If they do not follow due process, they have to go back to their hometown. There are people who are waiting miles away. 10 years, 15 years, 12 years, 8. People are waiting to get chance to come to America. A lot of people are being denied visa. A lot of people. So because you're sharing border does not give you the right to infiltrate or enter into America just like that. This is something that is very serious that we should talk about. It's terrible. And a lot of people who would have deported before, they're still coming back to America, smuggling their way in, which is bad. Some people commit crime and leave America and come back. The country have no record of you, which is bad. So if you are saying we should allow people, come in, come in, come in. We're accepting immigrants. You have to be careful of who you're accepting and know where they're coming from and know that background before you allow them in. But people don't take that into consideration. They just want to accept everyone. You can be good, but at the same time, don't allow your goodness be hurt you in return. This entire video was actually beautiful to watch. I enjoyed myself watching it. I love actually handle the students. Comment down below what you think about this video. Give us a thumbs up. Share this video to as many as can. Subscribe to our channel, guys. To know how it is. We'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe.